Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Kenn Bosak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. It's Kenn Bosak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Kenn bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get some Kenn Bosak.
And we're live, bros.
Moo.
Moo.
Woof.
What's up, everybody?
You know what, though? If this was a coin, I'd definitely go more into the woof. I'm a big fan of woof right now, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, we need to make one called Moo.
Moo coin.
No, it would be Moo token because we wouldn't
Yeah.
lie to people. We're not a coin. We're gonna... You know what? I hate that so much. It's like meme coin. Like, shut the fuck up. You're a token.
Use a token, my friend.
I love meme tokens, though, because I be token on the meme tokens. No joking in the meme token lounge.
Look at the cow dropping bars.
What's up, everybody? It's two
God.
cows and a dog here on Not Another Bitcoin podcast.
We're coming straight to you from the metaverse, hollering at you from the VR. How goes it? How goes it? Don't forget to hit the share, repost. It used to be formerly retweet. You know where it is. It's the same spot, new name. It still identifies as the same thing. It means you love me and you share, and it goes everywhere. Hit it. We got City Girl as our guest today. Going to be talking about all things VR. Just before we went live, I was like, yeah, we're gonna try to make VR great again, and I want to. I feel like NFTs kind of culture appropriated the VR atmosphere and kind of left it in shambles after destroying the definition of what a metaverse even is. So, City Girl, how goes it? Thank you for joining us.
All good here. Thanks for having me on.
My dog, good to have you. Good to have you. It's been a while.
It has. And I look like I'm in Miami where you used to be.
Well, he's in Miami right now, actually.
Oh, you're visiting. There we go.
Yeah. I just saw Jerome a little while ago on the beach, or he was at the park doing acrobatic yoga.
Acro yoga. Yes, he
Mm-hmm.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would trust him to throw me in the air like that.
No. His friends also did not trust him, but they let him do it. I was there. They let him do it.
Yeah, that's what drugs
awesome.
do. Don't do drugs. That's bad.
Sober yoga,
Nice.
it doesn't hit the same.
Look, the cow laughed. He
Right?
he did his head back and he laughed when
Laughing
I laughed.
cow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, that was just caught me
So
by surprise.
I guess like trying to jump into it a little bit, let people know, a little bit about yourself and what you're doing with your, the VR city atmosphere as, city girl in the VR space. Like I don't know. I'm so bad at explaining VR.
I like
I
that your
got
name reminds me of like Jenny from the block, City Girl from VR.
City girl from VR.
Yes.
So yes, no, I got you here. I'll tell you all about what we're doing in VR. So I've been in this since the beginning of COVID, and definitely at the beginning went in because I wanted to get an Xbox and play games, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try out this Oculus thing instead. Best choice I ever made. Jumped in, fully immersed, and fell in love with the whole scenario of just being one with what you're doing when you're in there instead of the 2D version. 3D is amazing. And yeah, there's 2D VR too, but nothing beats 3D actually being in it. And got in there, met some friends, partied up in there for a bit, and then decided, you know what, there's a lot of room for opportunity in here to do business, to monetize, and also to learn so much. I mean, everything technology is changing by the day, and I was, I'm in love with tech, and so I just jumped into it. And I started hosting a show called Yummy NFTs because a friend of ours, Jerome, needed somebody to help out. And I started learning about NFTs and thought it was really, interesting. Didn't know anything about Bitcoin, about any of the, of anything basically that was Web3, AI, any of that. And I started learning little by little and really decided this was something I wanted to follow through with. And I was out there hosting the show one day, and someone came up to me afterwards and they're like, I love the show. You're a great host. I wish I knew what the hell you were talking about. Like,
Yes.
well,
That's
I'm
awesome.
learning too. I'm learning too.
Learn
So
together.
I decided to leave the hosting of that show and start a show that was teaching people about everything Web3, crypto, AI, all the things that we're doing in the metaverse. And I found that to be, it was beneficial to me because I was meeting all these experts who were doing this stuff. I was meeting people who were just starting out, which kind of showed people the path and how to get involved and what the resources were that were available to us. And you'd be surprised at how much is out there that is not even of any cost, that you can go in there and learn how to do some pretty amazing things. So then I started Crypto City, and I've been doing that now. We just finished episode 63 the other night.
Wow,
Awesome.
congratulations.
Congrats.
Six away, six away, right? 6 away from the big 6-9. You gonna celebrate?
Nice.
Doing anything in
Nice.
honor?
Ooh.
It'll flip me upside down, I'm sure.
Do you know who your
Yes.
guest is for that episode? 6'9" Takashi.
Yes. No,
That's making
my
it
goal is to
fucking
hit
funny.
100.
Nice.
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be
that's
great.
awesome.
Wait,
I'm glad I've
why
had an
just
opportunity.
100? Wait. Why is that your goal? Just 100? You're so close.
No, not just 100. The goal is to hit 100, not just 100.
Oh, okay. See, my goals would be like start with like I want to hit 69, then I want to hit like 420, then I want to hit like over 9,000.
There you go.
Over 9. That's so funny.
Well, I'll keep doing it as long as as long as there's people who is interested in it, because I love what I'm doing. I mean, every week I bring on these incredible people, great stories. We started out just doing kind of NFTs, Web3, and crypto, and then we grew it into AI because that's what I've fallen in love with. And then this season we brought in everything VR and metaverse related, because all the things that are happening out there are so interesting. And the people who are coming in now are really wanting to do things and develop things within the metaverse. And for me, watching people get so passionate, like I get really involved in the things that I'm doing. I get really passionate about it. And I love seeing that grow within the community.
I was curious if you've seen more of this with or without, the Web3 in the conversation. Is it like still, the VR metaverse, interest without the, NFT, cryptocurrency, blockchain conversation? Like, is it standing on its own again, or does it still have that hand in hand conversation with blockchain, crypto, VR?
No, it's definitely standing on its own at this point. I think it's definitely rebounded back a lot. Day to day, I would say the crypto piece of it has gotten a different, like it's kind of broken up within the metaverse. Like you have people
Mm.
who are like gung ho and like, let's go Bitcoin, let's go all the cryptocurrencies out there. And that they're like, I had a guest on the other week, Mr. Arroyo, who has the crypto academy that he's doing. And he's, coming out and giving people the basics that they need, and we always preface it with do your own research, and please do not we are not financial advisors. We're just giving you the tools to get started. But there's a lot of people who are doing that out there. But within the metaverse, I think that it has rebounded from the, I don't want to say the crash of NFTs, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it was like everybody trying to monetize until it just became a little bit too flooded and dropped off a bit, which makes me very sad, because I think there's still a lot of opportunity there. It just, I feel like it may have drifted a little bit off course.
Mm. Yeah, I'm just happy to see that it's like kind of stepping out of the attachment that I've seen when it came to like VR and stuff, where it was like very crypto centric, and I was like, wow, you you can't get away from crypto. I was like, I thought I could come to VR and get away from this shit, but I kind of, like you said, I kind of have seen it step away from that and get more into its own. And like, actually, I was talking to somebody about that game. I don't think it's a VR game, but Pal World. And they were like, oh, I wonder why they didn't use NFTs and blockchain and crypto. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you really think Pal World would have been successful if they tried crypto shit? Like, and then I look at a lot of the VR games and VR stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why they're not using crypto shit. Like, these things are actually like doing things and working. Like, a lot of the crypto stuff is in the VR world. It's still very much vaporware, right? Coming soon, and features that down the pipeline, and like it's a lot of roadmaps, right? But a lot of the stuff in the VR atmosphere right now, that's like practical use, like you can actually utilize it. It exists. I think it is because it's on its own, not utilizing Web3, blockchain, NFTs, or any of that stuff. It's just basic, principle. Here's a virtual environment, have fun. And then you get, the VC bros who just want to own every megapixel, right? They want to own the air you breathe inside and outside of video games.
Well, I'll tell you too. I mean, AI is playing a big part in a lot of the stuff going on in VR right now, because with the scripting through ChatGPT, and a lot of people who don't have any technical background are able to produce such amazing things right now. I mean, personally, myself, I've only really used Blender and Unity, but I'm not doing any scripting. But like these world builders are able to create these environments with whether it's gaming involved in it or just really cool chill worlds that do things while you're in there. And ChatGPT to the rescue every time they're like, hey, this isn't working. ChatGPT, fix it for me, and it happens on the fly. And people are churning stuff out so much faster right now.
Yeah, it's insane how much that's even progressed. I mean, could you imagine where it's going to be at in like a couple years when things really start to take off? I mean, just wait till quantum computing comes.
Yeah, yeah, dude. That's you know what with the NPC stuff and all that, with the quantum computing and yeah, just being able to. I know there's not there's 8 billion people in the real world, and there are probably as many people in VR as there are in Bitcoin, right? It's like very small adoption. Maybe obviously there's more people in VR than Bitcoin, like physically, literally, right? There's like 10, people with 20 wallets, and that's why it looks like so many people are in crypto. But it's really hard to have 20 metaverse or virtual VR versions of yourself in a virtual space. The numbers are usually what they are. But once you start to see bots in there and you have these smart NPCs, you'll be able to have that experience where you can fill in the void where there aren't that many people in VR. Well, now the NPCs with like quantum computing, you can kind of bump into somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm walking here," It's like obviously going to be very like cut and paste, kind of stuff. Like, but it'll be a static reaction that you get from like running into something in a video game already. But that I think that filler, that NPC space filler, eventually won't be as needed when people do start to get into VR. But on the way there, it will be nice to see like non-player character, like AI, wearing this suit like we're wearing right now, just giving you somebody to bump into in the VR space when somebody else isn't there until they get there. Have you seen any use of that stuff so far? Like, I know you've had guests on your podcast in VR. Have you ever had like the thought, hey, is this like a real person? Is this somebody that used like Chat GPT and an avatar and like, wait a minute, how do I know you're flesh and blood and not ones and zeros?
Honestly, I know the guests that I've had on so far are real, but I could tell you that there have definitely been worlds I've gone into when you weren't sure if the NPC was real or not. And there's definitely, some huge growth in the development of realism within these AIs that are in there now. There's a lot of interesting characters I've had on my show that have been doing some big things within AI and in the metaverse. But we actually have a guy named Sato Mora he's creating a comic book series that is that is also like live anime that he's doing it with, and he has created all of this with the backdrop from VR chat. So like he's actually in there filming it with his animated characters in VR chat and then creating these comic books and pushing them out there, which is really cool. So there's definitely some interesting things that are being done where you wouldn't know whether or not it was a real character or not. But I also feel like when you talk about like the quantity of people and that are, now infiltrating into the metaverse, we like to consider ourselves pioneers in this because we are early adopters and we're jumping in with both feet, but we are definitely seeing a bigger influx. I mean, just in the 3 years I've been in here, it's grown tremendously, and the cross-platform has become, it used to be you picked a platform that that was your home world, and that's where you hung out. And there's a lot more cross-platform work from individuals and entities within there. I mean, just some of the stuff I'm doing alone outside of my podcast. I mean, I'm part of Mr. Block Party Radio, which is in both VR chat and it's in Horizon Worlds, and it's spreading out into other platforms now. And different people like Second Life Rich, who's doing creation of avatars and worlds and all of that, and he's within like 3 different platforms right now. So I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are spreading themselves around. Kip VR, who creates worlds and avatars in VR chat, is actually going to be opening up over in Second Life with a store where he monetizes his products that he's making. And like over in Second Life, it would be easy to have an AI that is an NPC that would look exactly like the real players as well. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that showing up in the businesses to help move the businesses along and be, you want to call them placeholders, but they could be your AI workers as well.
Oh, I like the way you put that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you've got to see all these, different changes happening and take place, as you've been immersed in this world. What about like everything ever since COVID? Was there a lot of changes or anything new that you saw that maybe have happened in VR space, whether it's like new places to venture to or just, more people coming in? Like, what was something that you might have noticed that happened like when you were going through that season?
Mm.
Like 5 year season of COVID that we all had terrible
Yeah,
experience.
obviously
Is
there's
it
a lot
truly
less
over?
people, right? Like, I mean, when we were all locked in our houses, I'd imagine there was a lot of people in VR, and as we were allowed to go back outside, and I also imagine there's potentially less. Yeah, good question. Love you, bro.
There's definitely well, all right, so changes in venues. I saw, during COVID, people were creating every type of venue you could imagine that was in the real world because they wanted to experience those things in this. So movie theaters being made because you couldn't go to the movies, nightclubs, concert halls, and even like adult entertainment. Everything is being created in there because you couldn't go out to it. I feel like when COVID started to slow down, we did see a little bit of a drop off because people were like, hey, I'm going to go play IRL now instead of in VR. But what's strange about that is probably maybe I would say 6 months to a year as COVID started to, drop off, we see people coming back. The people who were in
Mm.
it before returning back because they're like, hey, I missed this. I like the fact that I can go and do all these things without having to go out and spend money, that I can go out and do these things. And if I want to spend money, I'm investing it back into the people who are developing this community. And also because I think a lot of people felt like we did form a lot of bonds and friendships that were actually real. Like, I mean, in the real world, I've met probably, I think about 12 of the people that I know in VR. I've hung out with more than once. I mean, I've met you. So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I think that's how I met you too. I got invited to do the show with you, and then I got to be a regular guest, on
Mhm.
the city. What is it? Remind me again. Crypto
Crypto
City.
City. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. That's always been awesome. So like, how have we've all been experienced rug pulls and scams and shit. I don't really know much about the VR space, but like, do you ever have anything like that comes up? Like any kind of like VR rugs or like
Mm.
scammy type stuff or situations, maybe like some community groups or particular people, but just like how
Oh,
it happens with the
dude,
project founders here in Web3.
I was scammed once in VR, bro. The not really, but I feel like it. City Girl, do you remember Alt Space?
Of course, that's my
Uh,
hometown.
Yeah, I
yes,
paid
that's
a
where we
bunch of
started.
money to build some stuff in there, and then now it doesn't exist anymore because the company's like not around, and it's just like, where's all my shit, bro?
Well, there was a couple of different mindsets adopted over in AltSpace. So AltSpace, all of us who were part of it, we were very blessed because AltSpace could do everything event-wise that you could ever want. The technology was there. And I'm really sad that Microsoft stripped it away from us. But of course, with that's, nothing we can do about it now. We need to move on and just hope that
Right.
Microsoft slowly ekes it back out into, the metaverse for us in other platforms. But when we were in there, everybody was paying for worlds to be created. We were paying for avatars. We were paying for clothing, all these different things.
Right.
Ryu's he made all those clothing. I mean, we all had a closet full of amazing clothes. But the thing
Mm,
is when the platform went away, yes, a lot of it did go away. And some of the developers were like, "Hey, I'm not moving forward into the other platforms, so you basically paid for the use of it while this was here." Other developers, though, there were plenty of world builders who said, you know what? I'm going to take the time to recreate these worlds in the other platforms for you. And if they were Unity based, which was, like VR Chat, AltSpace, Cluster, a lot of these programs that are Unity based, they could take them and just tweak them a little bit and upload them through SDKs into the other
Cool,
platforms.
cool, cool.
If you were in Horizon World, which is Meta's platform, come on Zuckerberg, you're killing us here. But
Yeah.
basically, that technology is completely different, and the people who are building over in Meta, they're building from scratch with shapes. Now it takes a lot of technique and a lot of talent to do it. I'm not knocking it, but it's not anything that you can use anywhere else right now. So the worlds they're geometric. You do not have the same feel that you do as in VR chat or the other platforms. When you're in there, everything is made out of shapes, and some people have made some gorgeous worlds. People like Matlow with DeVeo Technologies, and people like Gala Giant, who's building game shows that are all straight. He uses as many squares as possible to keep the poly count down, because that's a big thing over there. You can't get a lot of people. Like, I can't do my podcast over there because you can't have more than X amount of people in there, and they don't have screen sharing.
Ooh,
So they need to enhance that technology, and then we would love to jump in there. But over in VR chat, you've got people like Kip, and Artsy was there, and a lot of the people from Altspace who took those worlds and brought them over so everyone could still experience them and enjoy them. So if you paid for them or you were in the Patreons, you did still have usage, which was pretty good of them to do to us.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like I was calling the artists or developers who, built my world or swag for other people like the rug puller. I'm definitely blaming Microsoft. Like, screw them.
Yes.
They're the ones who made all those people look bad.
They hurt all of us.
But it's not even just like they didn't even care. It's like
right.
We petitioned, nothing. We fought for Altspace. I mean, the day that Altspace closed, you should have seen how many people were in Altspace, took the day off from work, sat there in Altspace, holding hands, singing Kumbaya as the world closed. It was so sad. Well, DJ Marcus, he had a whole club opened up. It was called the Blackout, or just Blackout. And we were all in there. There were hundreds of us waiting for the world to end. It was like doomsday.
Well, I feel like that's how I feel like about VR. Like, ever since, because it really did, I'll be honest, it took a lot for me to get into VR. It's not really my comfort zone. I don't want to wear the headset, so I like that I could go to Altspace on a website. I like being able to see my surroundings. I need like 4 monitors at all times. I need that comfort. I need to be able to look at my phone and my computer screen. I need to be able to play a video game and see my doorknob if somebody's turning it to come in. I need all that visual stimulation and indicators. I'm constantly scanning a room at any time. So it's really hard for me to get in. And then for Altspace to do that, I've really lost all interest, because it just feels like no matter where I decide to get comfortable again, it's just an inevitable situation where they could just turn it off. And I know that it's like, I don't like being Mr. Negative, but is that something that you've worried about building in VR? Is like, ever since Altspace, like, do we have any, kind of comfort saying like these other alternative places are going to be more prominent and last longer?
Honestly, what we've learned, Altspace taught us one really big, valuable lesson: do not put all your eggs in one basket. Right. And it's just the reality with anything, whether you're investing or whether you're in VR or you're doing things in real life. You just can't put everything into one. So those of us who were in Altspace and felt like the rug was ripped out from under us, now we turned around and we're in VR chat, we're in Horizon. They're spreading out to other platforms. And I feel like that was a valuable lesson. It's also, I think we all reined ourselves in a little bit. I think we spent an incredible amount of money in Altspace, buying worlds, buying clothes, all the things that we did. And you know what? We don't regret it. We enjoyed every moment of it. Think of it this way. If you go out and you buy yourself, your favorite hoodie, and you wear it, a few times a month, we were wearing these clothes that we bought every single day. Every night we were dressing up in all these clothes. So we got our usage out of these things that we spent money on. The houses that we paid for, we hung out in, we had parties in, we did all these things that you would do in the real world. And yeah, we spent a lot of money, but nowhere near what you would have spent in the real world. So I really don't think it's that bad. And now we're over here in, we're in VR chat, we're in Cluster, we're in Second Life, we're in all these different places. I think people are spreading themselves out more and trying to capitalize on capturing the audiences from each, because it is so different. I did, when I left Altspace, because I started Crypto City in Altspace, I left there, I went to Spatial. I decided to give that a try because they said they was so good with events. I will tell you that they have a long way to go to satisfy those needs. But that's okay. I did it for a season and decided it wasn't right. So I jumped over to VR chat and found my new place. but I'm not closed off to jumping into other platforms as they become available and able to handle the needs. So you just need to be adaptable. You need to learn to go with the flow and make yourself marketable in all areas. And it's the same for people who are, building avatars and building worlds. If you know the technology and you know other platforms that can do it, you can monetize in all of them.
Speaking of monetizing, how exactly would you say, like, and influencer or creators in the VR space could set themselves up to monetize? Like, because like recently, I mean, we talked about it earlier before we started the show. Like, I had just started monetizing my Facebook, and Twitter's monetized, YouTube, TikTok, all these great things. And I'm assuming that there's opportunities like that in VR as well. Have you found anything like that, or do you know like how that works?
Oh, of course, monetizing in the metaverse is huge right now. That's what a lot of people are coming in to do. There's two different ways to do it. You can, there's probably many, but there's two that I can share with you. Like one of them is to come in and embrace VR and become a creator within the VR platform. So whether you're creating worlds, games, avatars, you can charge for all of that. If you're like, some of the people are creating digital assets that are usable within different platforms. Like I mentioned, Kip VR, he's creating worlds, avatars. He has a beautiful high heel shoe line. Ken, you'd love it. So and then we have people who are, DJ Marcus has a radio station that's online, and then he also has it broadcasting in different, both in Horizon and in VR chat. So I mean, you there's different things like that. There's Second Life Rich, who's making bling. He's got like amazing jewelry and stuff like that he's doing. So you have things that you could do that actually help benefit and grow the VR atmosphere. Or people are now bringing their IRL work into the metaverse, and that's a huge
What?
place
Oh
for
wow.
monetization.
Hold on,
Cool.
take a pause.
Uh-huh.
IRL work into the metaverse.
100%.
That sounds
That's cool.
so. That sounds like magic, like Rick and
No,
It's
Morty
the
that's
level.
future.
Yeah,
It's
is
the
it
there
is
like
future
a
now.
portal
amazing.
gun?
It's true.
How
It's true.
though?
Okay, so let me give you some examples. Okay, so let's start with some locally type stuff. For example, over in Horizon, you have the city of Adam, and which is actually meta backwards Adam. So,
Oh, nice.
anyways, they have a whole city over there where people are coming in with, like, for example, we have accountants, we have lawyers, we have people who are coming in with their work that they do. You have G Deuce. She does. She has Barra Financial, which does grant writing, which does taxes. A lot of financial advising. She has set up shop within the city, and people can come in there and they can talk to her, and she can give them guidance, and she can charge for her services, and she's working with
Ooh.
them. Now she might meet them in there and then do a Zoom call similar to this. I'm sure she doesn't wear a dog on her head, but similar to this. And she would be giving them, advice and helping them with their work. There are other people who are over there, doing their real life work. Now, go bigger than that. You have people like Yo Afro and Uncle Vinrock from Naughty by Nature who are in there right now with merch lines for their music. And they're in there doing concerts, and people are like new artists coming in there, musicians are coming in and doing these little Yo Afro set them up through the block with mini desk concerts. So they come in and people buy tickets to sit there and watch them perform in their avatar. I mean, we've had some amazing people in there, to do these little concerts for us. And then, like I said, Vin from Naughty by Nature, he jumps in there and he did Hollowport concerts, and you were actually watching him. And then you could, at the time you could go out and you could go back to his website and buy things. Now he has actually stepped up with Second Life Rich, and they have storefronts within Spatial, where you can go in there, click on like a hoodie or a t-shirt or a hat, and it pops up the browser, and you can buy it right there. And you can have it for either to, it'll ship to your house and you can wear it in the real world, and you can also buy it as a wearable within Spatial.
Oh
That's
wow.
dope.
That's
Totally.
really cool.
Wait a
It really
minute,
is.
dude.
I like
That's
that because that's kind of like what Asvoria is,
yeah. That's
building,
what I was
for
just
the
about to
real world as
say.
well, in the more hyper realistic, realm where our spatial web experience is going to be as close to, reality, I guess, as you can get, but with the bonus of it's not reality because you can do some cool, weird shit.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
was
Absolutely.
just gonna say. Like what we touched on a little bit earlier as well is like, is this gonna still be here? Do I have ownership? And sometimes,
Yeah.
things do help if you own it, especially if you're building, your space in it. It's like
Mhm.
Corey, shout out to the Uplift. A lot of those, metaverses that were being built in like, on top of Minecraft infrastructure was super dope. And then Minecraft was like, get lost, losers, and
right.
it was like, damn it, man, we were just having fun. Like,
Right.
it's not,
There's definitely opportunity.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like with Asvoria, it's possible to take like that space that I had built for alt space. Like I didn't even think of this, bro. Like
Yeah.
that environment. Dude, is it possible like to still find those files, like that space from alt space that I had built out? And because if I can get that file, I could have it replicated in Asvoria. Like if
You
you
had
want.
the chance to download that when Altspace closed. I don't know if it's still available, or the person who
Ah.
developed it for you, though, who built
Ooh,
it? You
Jerome
could
might
reach out to the
Jerome.
builder.
It was Jerome and a couple other people. They were passing it around, so he or
Mhm.
somebody may have snagged it just to have it because a lot of those nerds do that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask. Well, I mean, is that something you're interested in? Like, would you want to send over like your virtual world to Asvoria and see if we could like do something cool with it?
I don't have a virtual world that I could send over to you
Wait,
right now.
what happened? I thought you had one for Altspace. You didn't download it when you had your chance?
Mm, I was not the creator of my world in Altspace. I had that created for me. So
No.
yeah, but it's okay because actually my home space that I had in Altspace was created by Matty Boy, and he actually brought it into VR chat for me, so I have it
Oh, dope,
there.
dope, dope.
But he's still the owner of it. But Crypto City was created for me by a different creator, Stovert, and he's actually no longer doing VR World, so I can't get that one from him. But I would definitely be interested in maybe having a world over in Azerovia. Sure.
Well, at least your own. I mean, it doesn't even sound like you have yours. Yeah, let's get you your own thing going on over there. Get you the private keys to the whole castle. It'll be
There you
yours.
go. I'd be the princess.
The queen, the queen.
I could be the queen. Okay, that works. Too funny. But yeah, so I mean, you really do have all these opportunities in the metaverse already. It's just figuring out what you want to do and making it happen, capitalizing on it. So, as far as, well, what if VR chat was to shut down tomorrow? Well, don't set yourself up that if it shuts down, you have nowhere to go. Make sure you have alternatives. And I think that's probably the key,
What are some
to
alternatives, though? I've only heard a few names. How many alternatives can there possibly
there's
be?
actually quite a few platforms out there, and there's new ones coming up every day. There's people building new platforms. For example, there's Utopia VR is being built. It's still got a ways to go before it's ready, but he's building that as an entire city as well with multiple levels, and people can bring their worlds over from Altspace, from VR chat. All of them are going to be like
Ooh.
the same technology because they're all using Unity, which
Wow.
is it's interesting because I know we're not really talking about investing right now, but one of the things that I did when I was doing my investments was I actually bought into Unity because why am I going to, shoot out way far out? I'm going to shoot at the foundation, and that's what things are being built off of. So I thought that was kind of a safer bet for me, and it's been
Smart.
holding good. So
Yeah, well, I
Unity.
mean, I can respect that. It's always, I mean, I've always said like, buy Nike stocks before you buy Nike socks. You know what I mean? Like, why are you gonna
Exactly.
buy shoes from a company that you don't have stock in, right? Like, buy the stock
Right.
Right.
first, and then
Support
go pump your
yourself.
stock. Yeah, pump
Yep.
your stock. Buy the Nikes after you buy the
Pump your own
shares.
bags.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude. Have a
See, that's
stake in
why
the
I just
game,
want to
bro.
find somebody to design my own clothes so I can just support them and they support me by making my shit, and I
Yes,
support them by
exactly.
paying them to make my shit. I'll be
Well,
like, oh, this brand, this is Ken Bosak brand.
you
You
can do
can't get
that
this
in the
anywhere.
metaverse. You can do it in the metaverse.
I
Yes.
definitely do want to branch out. Obviously, we're doing stuff with Asvoria with spatial web, but I truly believe for metaverse to matter, spatial webs need to be connected or at least be multiplied, like you said. So
Yes.
when I get the chance, I want to be like you said, everywhere and everything, all the things all at once, kind of like that movie, right? Like
The movie.
that's metaverse, right? It's
Yes.
like you can't just have like one 3D website and call that, metaverse. It's VR, cool. It's spatial web, cool. But for it to be meta, you have to have like a copy paste version of this everywhere and have it in different graphics and different, like, you know what I mean, different colors and different things. Like
Yeah.
that's what makes it meta.
I
And
like that
having
comparison.
You need to
portals.
diversify.
Portals.
Diversify your VR, diversify your spatial web, diversify,
Yeah.
Diversify
and it
your
makes it
bonds.
meta. Diversify your bonds, fool.
I will tell you one thing though, like you mentioned earlier about NFTs and stuff, before we were chatting. And I do want to mention that there is some usage still within VR, even though it's not as much as it was before. But people are using NFTs for some really cool things as well. Like for example, when I do my shows, I still do POAPs, and I know that there's not a lot of people out there doing them anymore, but I do them, and mine are more for entertainment value. Here's your commemorative badge.
I was gonna say,
But
explain what a POAP is, because if people don't know,
oh, sure.
they could just make something up in their head. You know what I mean? What's a
No. Okay,
POAP?
so POAP is POAP. It stands for Proof of Attendance Protocol. And basically, if you think about when you go to a concert and you get like in the old days, you had tickets and they used to rip the tickets in half and you got the stub and you went home with that. That was like your memento from the concert. It was like a souvenir. So what Proof of Attendance Protocol is, basically it is a way to digitally prove you were at an event. It's created by whoever's holding the event, and there's actually a governing agency over POAPs, so it's legit NFT that's created, and you go in and you put in the information. So for example, if we had one for this episode, it would be on 5/2/24, not just another Bitcoin web podcast, and the person gets a link and you go in and you mint a little NFT that's a little round badge, and it's unique to you because it's an NFT, and you can actually token gate them if you wanted to use them for things. For example, DJ Marcus, who runs the Mr. Block Party Radio, he was doing some things where if you collected certain POAPs, and he actually had one of them from Crypto City was going to be included in it, he would give special VIP access when you went to this event that he's going to be holding over the summer. So, people wanted to collect them so that they could get access to this. Vinrock does that with NFTs for his concerts. If you have certain NFTs, you could get special access to his concerts and certain things that might become available to you. So people are still using them, just not in the same way that they were being used before, not as prevalently. So now they're being more used to give you special things if you have them.
That's cool. I like the token gating thing. I've kind of gotten into it with some cool chat room stuff, and I could definitely see it being more valuable in the metaversey type of way, or at least in VR. I think, who was it? Decentraland, I believe it was Decentraland. I have an NFT of Ross Ulrich. Shout out to my boy from the Silk Road, Free Ross.
Yes,
I got
sir.
an NFT of his, though, that gets me access to a building that was built in his honor I believe for his mother, Lynn. For her to have a place to hang out and do things, in his name with his, followers, right? So I got one of the NFTs, and without it, you can't even walk into the building. You get certain NFTs, you can only go to certain levels or certain floors. So if you have a few NFTs, you can go in, then you can go up to different floors. You can get to the pool party on the roof type stuff. And I just thought all of that gamification of it was really cool. I feel like the proof of concept there, which is being able to go to this virtual environment, hang out with Lynn, Ross's mom, talk about Ross and his situation, and even if I kind of was busy one day and they're doing an event, I could send that to Miggy and Miggy could go attend, and I feel like
Yeah, buddy.
that level of like transfer of ownership, the gamification of it in that sense, all that really makes it like, back to the schoolyard days where I could just like, here's a jelly bracelet. Now you can go play can ball. Give me your jelly bracelet. I can go play hopscotch. Like, I don't know. It's just like the visceralness of the kids in us kind of getting away with like, being kids again and playing with this stuff. And I like that utility of it, that here's a ticket. Now you can go on this ride.
Right.
Like otherwise it doesn't have much value, right? Like when you get into these environments where like there isn't much token gating, you get bored of it. You don't even have to wait in line. You get like, desensitized, or you get spoiled pretty quickly, right? Like imagine being like a billionaire's kid in the real world. Six Flags is rented out to you. It's like you don't even want to go after the first 3 times. You have the park all to yourself. Yeah, it's the point of standing in line and having somebody, throw up on you once or twice. Like, oh man, like that is part of the visceralness of it. And I think the token gating of it adds that value of like, oh, this has value. Otherwise, it's like, what, did AI build this whole environment? Like, it probably didn't cost anybody any time to build this. In the meanwhile, it was like a developer sweating over a keyboard trying to build this virtual space, this spatial web environment, but people don't value it because it doesn't cost them anything to enter it. Much like a website. You just go to facebook.com and you're like, why are there ads everywhere? And then they're like, well, why is Twitter want us to pay to use them? It's all free. It should be free. Look how easy it is. None of it's easy. These developers are working very hard in Web 2, Web 3, and in VR. So I think that token gating stuff like that, it gives people that sense of value. Like when you do go to Six Flags, you have to pay, for the season pass, and it's a couple $100 to take the family. Well, if it costs a couple $100 to go to this virtual environment and see, Travis Scott do a concert like he did in Fortnite, it has that value to it. I think that's what we're kind of missing more so outside of the crypto things in VR, is because it's so free, people don't value it. And that's unfortunate.
Utility is key.
Yep. Well, and value, know your value and value it, right? Price that key. You can't just give away VR for free forever. I think that's what happened to AltSpace. Microsoft was like, but where's the profit? Where's the revenue?
We would have paid to stay. We would have paid to stay. We offered.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I would have too. I would have signed up. I pay for X. I pay for YouTube only because I don't want to see ads. And I think I paid like $300 to Twitter, and I'm pretty sure they just started showing me ads again. And that was the only fucking reason I paid the stupid amount of money.
Yeah, and it sucks that they did that because like it was a good place because it was very accessible. And I think that's one thing that is going to be a struggle now, is that the access is minimal for VR.
I want to know if
as far as
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, just as far as like, whether you can do it on your phone, on your computer, or in a headset, like it's starting to become limiting because you can most of them are gearing towards either your computer or your headset, which is, I mean, obviously where you want to go, but
Well, they're going onto the phone now too, though. I mean, Spatial
Right.
you can access in all 3.
Oh,
And
nice.
Horizon is available on the phone in certain areas, just not everywhere. Depends on if you're
Crypto voxels you can do anywhere too, and they're kind of the same thing but with crypto. They're cool.
And a lot of the 2D VR worlds are on phone as well.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, you've got the 3D headset. It's a different experience for sure. And like I said, I wouldn't trade the immersion for anything because I love that. But there's definitely, depending on what you're doing I mean, look at Second Life. Second Life is huge and it's 2D. That's it depends on what you really want to be doing. And everybody's got their own, and why do they make different flavors? Because everybody likes different things, so it depends. It depends.
And you're right. I guess, Baskin Robbins narrowed it down to 31. We don't need infinite, different flavors. We just have to have, maybe those 31 that just hit the demographic audiences enough that there's enough diversity that we can spread out and overlap, connect them with those portals and make it truly meta. We touched on something that really made me interested because you are in the VR space, like you've been living in it, and I'm wondering like what your thoughts are where it comes to with advertising. Do you see advertisements in VR now, and if not, like Or even so, do you see that we'll probably have more ad banners, pop-up ads, or advertisements in the VR space? Like we didn't really have ads on YouTube in the beginning. We didn't really have ads on Facebook in the beginning. We didn't really have ads on Insta. Like now there's ads everywhere. And I feel like maybe
Everywhere.
VR might be that safe space, but I could be wrong. Am I missing it,
Well,
or is it coming?
all right. So I think advertising in VR right now is very different. Advertising in VR is done by the people in VR. So basically, for example, all right, personally, we've been doing a lot of Patreons. People have Patreons, and some of them allow, for access to different things. Like maybe if you're in their Patreon, you can get access to these special worlds that they've created only for their patrons. So for me, I don't have worlds I can offer people. So what I started offering was ad space in Crypto City in my studio. So
That's
people
cool.
join my Patreon can advertise their businesses within Crypto City. So I have like different tiers, different levels. So some of them, when you first spawn into the world, you see it's actually a motion revolving banner that people have their ads on if they're in that tier. Otherwise, there's another tier where if you go inside the studio, you have a static image up on the wall. So when people are in there watching the show, they'll see you
That's
up on the
fucking
wall.
dope.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so that's how people can get advertising that way. The other way that, like, for example, on New Year's Eve, we had a massive party in VR. It was incredible. And, Kip and Marcus and myself and Maddie, and like there was a whole bunch of people involved in this. And there was a bunch of people, I can't even remember everybody right now, but there was a ton of people. And they had a replica of Times Square. And in Times Square, what do you have? Billboards. So they sold all the billboards and people came in and bought ad space,
Oh
and that
wow.
was up on all the billboards. So during New Year's, while we had performers up on the stage, because we had all types of live performances happening, and we had hosts going up there and making comments and different things, and integrating with the crowd. And there were a few different worlds within this particular space. It was so incredible. Can't wait till next year. And everybody bought ad space, and some people bought one ad, some people bought multiple ads to have their businesses up on the walls during New Year's. It was incredible.
That is badass. Yo, we might have to get you on the Asvoria team since you're like in
Yeah.
that know, because we've been spitballing around
No,
that,
yeah.
and I ain't about to steal all your ideas and get paid for it. We gotta talk, get you into talks with the team at Asvoria, because I think that is really amazing. I love that you're like, oh, the ads are awesome because it's coming from us. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, it's not coming from, the Zuckerbergs and the Elon Musks and all that
Exactly.
shit. Yeah, I really think that is, it's very grassroots, it's communal, and it's cultural. It's cultural.
It's definitely the community coming together.
You can have culture in VR now without having to worry about them, making it into a Supreme T-shirt or throwing it on a Nike T-shirt and taking your hodl it. Like they fucking. I bet you can find a Nike T-shirt that says hodl on it. You know what I mean? They don't. They're all about culture vulturing and pandering to an audience, right? So I like the fact that you can come up with these like cultural terms in VR and not have to worry about Nike and Supreme coming in and saying, here's these ad banners because you have this metadata and because you use these keywords with the algorithm's going to show you this ad. It's just more pure. It's like, show up at this, personal venue that I have, like my house basically, and here's some stuff on, for sale or swag that's, things that I'm interested in and people that I know, like, it's like,
Yeah.
I really want to
See, I've always liked that kind of stuff, especially for like like architects. They could
Yes.
use the metaverses to display their architecture that they could do in the real world too, and stuff like that. But I
That's
also,
happening. That's
but there was
happening.
something that I can't. Well, I know that they're selling like architectural stuff as NFTs. I mean, they happened like a couple years ago. But there was something else that I came across a while back, which would kind of fall in line with all the advertising stuff, especially with the VR space. I met this group that was creating ad space that were formed through NFTs, and the NFT also captured data. Like, let's say you created a 3D model truck, right? Let's say you're Tesla, and so your truck is your advertisement. That's the NFT or whatever that connected you. You create this 3D truck, And now you have it in the VR space, you have it in a world. People go by, they see the truck, right? And they get to walk around it, they get to look at the features. And one thing that the data captures is the hot spots, which spots in the car got the most
Mhm.
activity. So that way you can kind of target next, and really see like, okay, what attracted people most to this ad and things like that. And so it captured real-time data. And that's one thing that I liked. And now that Ken was kind of bringing some stuff up, we met this guy who's doing like executable NFTs. So I'm wondering if that could be something that could kind of be put together too with the advertising, maybe through like
Oh,
Asvori and all these other things,
yes.
to kind of bring that, what I just said, that capture of data and have like these dynamic
Yep.
advertisements and
That's
shit
who
like
we're
that.
gonna.
Like
That's we're gonna introduce City Girl to Rick. Rick and City Girl could definitely have a cool and interesting
these cows and
conversation.
dogs got good ideas.
Yeah, boy. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up here. Where can people go to get more you? Where are you? If you're not in the VR, where can they follow you?
Where are
And
you
in
viewing
the
at?
VR, where do you? Where do you do you?
Well, if you want to see my show, Crypto City, it's produced by myself and my bestie, Blue Moon, along with Loudfire. And Kip VR built the world, which is really cool. And DJ Marcus helps us out all the time. That is in Monday nights in VRC at 9 p.m. EST. And if you are not able to get into VRC, I have a YouTube channel. It's City Girl VR on YouTube, and there's all the episodes from all the previous seasons. You'll see Miggy on this a few times. So yeah, definitely check us out there. And I'm also on Instagram under citygirl_401, and also Crypto City VR.
You're busy.
Awesome.
You're so busy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what she was telling me before the show, is that she's got so many socials that she's managing that she can't even manage her own because she's doing all the
Oh,
other stuff.
I believe it. I mean, I don't
Mine's
blame
not as
you.
interesting.
Yeah, when you're good
No,
at
it is,
something,
because look at
though.
all this stuff that you're doing. You can kind of funnel everything down to yours and be like, hey, check out all this cool shit I'm doing on all these other socials.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah, big facts. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching. Big shout out to City Girl. Check out City
Thank you.
Girl VR on YouTube. If you're not in the VR, you can at least spectate. Be the VR. I'm a VR wallflower. I'm eventually going to dabble back in, but I am a VR wallflower. I do admire it. I appreciate it. I feel like there should be a bit of appreciation for VR. Even if you don't want to use it yourself, I like to look at it through the lens of, kids or people that may not have, physical means to do physical things in the real world. And the VR stuff is a lot more useful than just shits and giggles for people like us.
We're all on an equal playing ground in VR.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like, yeah, we're gonna have a whole new appreciation for interacting with people in the real world, because we're gonna value it after interacting more like this. It's the text-based stuff. You lost sarcasm. VR is gonna bring sarcasm back. It's coming back. You know what I mean? When it comes to like virtual interacting, you can't have sarcasm without VR. And I think that's what's going to get me to really dive in and play more around with it. Especially being on the Asvoria team, spatial web is something that I've always been interested in. And the only way to get metaverse is to build these webs and connect them and make them fourth dimensional with these portals. So keep on keeping on with every one of these VR platforms, because eventually it'll be just like walking through a door and you'll be going to a totally different platform, a different website, but that is another version of your spatial web, your VR space. The building blocks of the metaverse are what you guys are doing now. So big ups to City Girl. Everybody watching, go ahead and hit that repost button, formerly known as retweet. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and share it. You can delete your account, uninstall those apps, and go on over to X and whatever VR app is next. maybe that's what's next for XVR. What do you know? What do you think, guys?
There you go.
Thank you. Have a night.
Thank you.
See ya. Thanks, y'all.
Hello, happy bros. Hey, you're about to get a face full of the Kenn Bosak. He's a mentor. That's what I heard. He's a connector. Oh, yeah. He's a brilliant leader. I've seen it. It's Kenn Bosak. Oh, happy bro. You gotta get some Bitcoin and hold it. Happy bros. You gotta get those NFTs and you gotta hodl that stuff. You gotta hodl it. 'Cause I'm Kenn bro. We got your Bitcoin, bro. He's an original. Buy some NFTs and hold them. How many times does he have to tell you? Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. 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 Yeah, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Bro, we're going to the moon. Oh yeah, we're going to the moon. We're gonna get real high. Real high. Yep. Real high. Hello, happy bros. Come get some Kenn Bosak.